Hello and welcome to the free class for August. So for the free class, you can earn this with a $50 purchase. So automatically you get the class. There's nothing extra that you need to do. It's just a small reward that I'm giving customers who do place the order of $50 or more. So the way it works, if you were to place an order during this month, so during August, you would qualify for the September free class. So this is the free class that people have earned if they place an order during July. I am going to be using in this one, in both cards, the Simply Said stamp set, which is one I use a lot when it comes to sentiment stamp sets. I think it just covers all of the basics. This stamp set can be found on page 19 of the annual catalogue. And for this one, it's costing $30. So it's a really fabulous price point for a really versatile sentiment stamp set that covers all of the basics. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to be using in this class, you will notice if you've received the kits, which you should have certainly received the kits, we will be using some new product from the new mini catalogue, which looks like this. My mini catalogues did arrive today, so I'm going to be getting those sorted and they'll be ready for collection next week. If I'm in your area, I will stop by and pop one in your letterbox. But between now and next week, I've got retreats, so I'm not sure how many I'm going to get delivered. But please let me know, and I'm happy to leave them out the front for you just in case for collection in case I'm at work. So I can't show you the inside yet. I promise as soon as I can show you that, I will. So the designer series paper that I'm using from the new mini catalogue is called Nests of Winter designer series paper. It is a standard designer series paper. So the cost for this one is $21.75. Comes in 12 by 12 and there's 12 sheets in each. So you do get 2 sheets of each of these designs. I'm going to go through them, and these are really great because all of these bird images you can cut out of the paper. So some of them are a little bit smaller. Something like this, for example, add a sentiment and that's your card. Let me just hold this up a little higher. You can make a card just by adding a sentiment to that one. Obviously you've got maybe a little bit of matting and your card base, and that card is ready to go. So these ones aren't necessarily Christmas, okay? So they can be used for different occasions. And the reverse side is often just a really nice pattern. And again, we've got the birds. These birds here can be cut out using the dies, which I'll show you those in just a moment. Let me show you the reverse side of these papers. So again, another really great paper that you can just add a sentiment to. Okay, and again, as I mentioned, the reverse side of each of these papers are really versatile patterns. There's a really lovely colour selection in these papers as well. So we've got Garden Green Pool Party, there is Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, a couple of others. So the reverse side is really fabulous as well. So very, very versatile papers. Let me pop these aside and let me show you a couple more products that are in this suite. Just going to put these together with a little clip for next time. Okay, so with this suite also comes the Winterly Treetops stamp set. Okay, so this is a red rubber stamp set or brown rubber. Even though it looks to be a little bit Christmassy, colour these in some red tones. They're going to be cardinals for Christmas. There's actually no Christmas sentiment in this stamp set, so it does have that versatility. And one of the cards we're making as one of the cards for the free class, you could easily turn that into a Christmas card just by putting a Merry Christmas on it. And the other thing that comes with this set as well is some dies. So as I mentioned, there's the dies that you can cut the birds out with, or some of the couple of different birds. There's sprigs, there's little stems with the leaves, plus there is this really fabulous frame that you can cut out. You may have noticed this on a card that I shared not so long ago. Okay, so now if you are watching, please say hello. I haven't had any comments come up yet, but it doesn't mean there aren't any there. So yes, if you're watching, yeah, please stop in and say hello. Okay, so let's get started. Here is the first one. Okay, so this one is using one of the images from the paper which I have cut out using the die. I don't think I've done that with my kit or anyone else's, so that's going to be a fussy cut. And there are people watching. I wasn't sure whether my live was working properly, so hello to Bianca and Sharon. I'm really glad that you've joined me. So this is quite simple. Again, it's just using the stamp set, which is Simply Said for the sentiments, and the designer series paper, and some basic stuff, basic products for the rest of it. Okay, so let's get started with this one. I should have, oh yeah, okay, and I've also got here some of the Pool Party little dots, and I can't remember which product they come from. I am using some of the diagonal striped white ribbon. This is, let me think, is it copper clay? I think it might be copper clay, which is, I think it's copper clay. I don't know if that's a colour. That's really bad. I should know my colours by now, shouldn't I? Let me have a look in the book and see if I can find it really quickly. Page 31. Let me see what colours are in it. Oh, I was right. It's copper clay. That's really good. So this is actually, oh boy, anyone think it was Monday. This is linen thread that is coloured. Okay, so that is copper clay. So I'm actually kind of happy I got the name of that right, because it's kind of been a long week, and I hope no one else is feeling that like that on a Friday night. Okay. If you've got the kits, you'll also have 2 pieces of Pool Party that measure 10 centimetres by 14.4. You'll have 2 pieces of white, which measure 9.5 by 13.9. You'll have 2 pieces of the designer series paper from the Nests of Winter, which is part of the Winterly Treetops bundle from the new catalogue. Okay, so let's get started. Now, this live might take a bit longer to get through. I have been struggling just a little bit with words today. Bone folder, there it is. Okay. So, obviously starting folding your card in half. And there is a little bit of fussy cutting to do. As I mentioned, there are dies that coordinate with this paper, which is so good. I love it when Stampin' Up! Does this. Let me show you this one. So as you can see, the die sits perfectly over that. I'm not going to do that because people are playing along. I am going to fussy cut this one, even though I'm really tempted to get the machine out and just do the die cut. So grab your scissors out and fussy cut this out. It shouldn't take too long to do. Well, I hope it won't take too long anyway. So the little bits that the die cuts out on the inside, I'm actually going to leave those bits intact because that will take just a little bit longer to actually get all of this done. Okay, so this paper will be available when the new mini catalogue, so that's September to December catalogue, goes live, which is very early September. With this, even if you just get the paper, there is just so much you can do with the paper. I think it's always nice to have the whole lot, but sometimes we need to work within our budgets. but this paper goes a really long way. And if you're cutting out all these little birds to use on your projects or on your cards or scrapbook pages, your little birds are going to last ages. Okay, almost done. So once this fussy cut is done, this card actually doesn't take too long to put together. And of course, then I've got a second card to share with you using the exact same products from this bundle. Okay, almost done. There we go. So you can see very quickly the difference. With the die, you do get these middle sections here cut out. I'm not going to worry too much about that today. All right, so let's put this card together. So starting with one of the pieces of white and the other piece of, or the wood sort of grain designer series paper, we're going to stick those two together. I'm just using a little bit of Stampin' Seal, but you can use whatever adhesive you've got on your table. Okay, so there's the first bit. Next bit I'm going to be sticking on is the piece of the ribbon. This is the diagonal white. It does come in a trio, it comes in a duo, or a combination pack where you get the white and you also get petal pink. So with this one, just to help it stick down a little bit, I have got some thin double-sided tape, and I'm going to place that just below the designer series paper. I just need to check. I just need to trim this up just a little tiny bit before I stick the rest down. I didn't stick mine on very straight, but we'll just trim that and live with it. Okay. So as I mentioned, I have put some of that nice thin double-sided tape. This tape isn't a Stampin' Up product, but you can get it at local craft stores. I think I probably got this either from one of the craft shows, craft fairs, and I think I've also seen it in some of the discount stores as well. Okay, so I'm just tucking that behind a little bit of sticky tape. And then with the copper clay linen thread, so it's just slightly different texture and feel to it compared to the baker's twine. I am going to sit that just below the ribbon, and again stick that in place just with a small amount of sticky tape. And it just helps, because it's kind of hard on this paper, or with this paper and the white, to see the white bit. That just helps that stand out a little bit more. Right, I probably should have stamped my sentiment first, but I'm going to do that now. And I'm just going to do a thinking of you, because then you can use, of course, a thinking of you card for anything you like. I am using Pool Party ink, which of course is the same colour as that cardstock that I've got. And it's one of the colours in the paper, so you can see on the birds in the paper that it has got Pool Party in it. Okay, so inking up my thinking of you, and that is just going straight down the bottom. Very simple. With, of course, the photopolymer stamps, it's really easy to line up your sentiment nice and straight. I shouldn't say that because I've actually got them crooked with these as well, but you know what I mean. Okay, next. My birds, I'm going to be sticking on around about there, and they are going to be going on with some dimensionals I've got here. Okay, I do have some minis, and I know that I've shown you multiple times. Just remember to cut up those little bits of dimensional that go around the outside of the sheets. And one of the good things as well, if you need something that is a little bit smaller, you can sort of almost customize the size of the dimensionals that you're using. I've got 2 there. So you can either go bigger or smaller with these, which is really great. A couple more pieces. Maybe too many. That's okay, we'll live with that today. And then it's just flicking the back off those. Couple more, and then this is ready to go onto the card front. And I'll show both of these side by side, just so you can see the difference quite easily with the birds. So of course you can see a little bit of the linen thread underneath the original one that I cut out with the die, but you lose that of course with this one, with that little piece in there. But honestly, it still looks really cute. Okay, I do have my little gems, which these are called, let me have a quick look in the catalogue and tell you what these ones are called. Now my pre-order arrived this morning, and it's a little bit sad that I haven't actually opened the box yet. Okay, no, these must have been from a different section. So if anyone's got a catalogue handy and they can see these little pool party gems, you might be able to find them for me. Okay, sticking these on, I've got my take your pick tool just with the putty end. And I'm going to see if I can slide this one up. I might not be able to. There's not too much there to hold on to with the little bit of plastic. There we go, got one. And then it's at random, your little pool party gems to go on. I think they're a part of one of the annual catalogue packets of embellishments, but I forgot to write down what they were. Okay, so as mentioned, this card is a nice quick one to make. So, and of course, if you don't have these sorts of little embellishments, some rhinestones, some pearls, of course, with your pearls, don't forget you can colour those with the alcohol markers, so then it is going to coordinate with anything that you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to be sticking the mat down first, which is the pool party, and this measures 10 centimetres by 14.4. And let's see if I can get things to stick straight today, because I haven't had a whole lot of success getting anything straight today. So there is that one. And then I have got my piece that I finished just before. I'm sticking this piece down with some dimensionals. Okay, let me just quickly cut some more of this up. Couple more pieces on, I think, maybe 3. And of course then peeling the backing paper off. Then we've only got the inside to stick in, and then we've finished the card. So for anyone who's got the kits in front of you, I hope you're keeping up. And of course I will be posting the replay straight away once I finish this Facebook Live. Okay, so that's on to card front, and then it's just the inside, which is the same as I always finish them off. A piece of white that measures 9.5 by 13.9 onto the piece of pool party, which measures 10 centimetres by 14.4. And of course, I need to give the reminder, when you're using Stamp and Seal, remember that little tick at the end to break the stream of the adhesive, and not too heavy when you're using it. It only takes a light hand using your stamp and seal. So there we have card number 1. Okay, so nice and easy, really cute birds. And again, you're just picking the sentiment that you want your card to be. So that is card number 1. Let me show you card number 2. This one I've got as a birthday card, but it's going to work beautifully as a Christmas card as well. So here it is here. I have chosen one of the birds from one of the other pieces of the designer series paper. Let me see if I can find that one quickly. So this is another piece of the paper. It's the same piece of paper. It just doesn't have this cute little bird on it. So you might have a different bird to what I've got. And I've probably got a different one again in my little packet here. But these birds can all be cut out and just fussy cut them. So let's take a look at what I've got here, because I think I might have ended up with a different bird. I did. So there is another cute little bird. This one, there's no die that coordinates with it, so you won't have a choice. This one is a fussy cut. And this one here, I fussy cut out when I was making the card originally. So I've added in a couple of extra things that are part of the suite. We've got, of course, a piece of designer series paper, which will be matting onto a piece of early espresso. I've cut out 2, I don't know what they're called, leaves. I don't think they're quite leaves. You might have a better idea of what they're called. And they're not sprigs. Maybe they're sprigs. I don't know. It's Friday night and I'm rambling. So you'll have 2 of those in there. Some linen thread, which is the original linen thread. So it's that lighter brown one, very natural. I've got a die cut deckled or rectangle, which is to stamp the sentiment on. And I forgot to bring over this to show you. This is the new embossing folder. I'm not sure how well you can see it. Pine fronds, that works, Gay. We'll go with that. This has got a wood sort of texture on it. I'm not sure. I can't tell through my phone if that's showing up, but it just gives it really nice texture. I've also got a couple of pieces of crumb cake, which measure 10 centimetres by 14.4. And I've got a second piece of white. This is the 9.5 by 13.9, which is the same size as the embossed one. And of course, a card base. Okay, so let's get started with this one. As mentioned, this one is going to work really quite nicely as well for a Christmas card. Bone folder, there we go. Maybe a Christmas card depending which bird you have. We'll wait and see how this one looks because they're going to turn out just ever so slightly differently. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting the front together. So I do have my embossed piece of white. And I'm going to be just sticking this onto the crumb cake. Okay, thank you, Gay. I assume you meant it is as in the embossed piece of cardstock has shown up okay on my phone. Okay, very, very simple. This card is probably a little bit flatter than what I would normally do, as in I've used 1 layer of dimensions, 2 layers of dimensionals. Normally I use a bit more. So you can choose if you want the other side of your paper, just depending which way your cute little birds are going. But again, some stamp and seal. And onto the piece of early espresso. Okay, so far so good. I'm kind of remembering some of the names tonight. And then a bit of stamp and seal. And the designer series paper onto the front. So really not too difficult at all. Okay, next piece, or next bit, this is going to be stuck on to the card front using some dimensionals. And as mentioned, just cut up all of these little bits around the edges. Now, once I finish this card, I do have a couple of real quick reminders to share with you. I promise they'll only take just a minute or so to get through. Okay, almost done. So, getting the backs off those. And this will go straight onto the card front. Next bit is, oh, if this is going on straight, I think it's kind of sort of straight. Some fussy cutting. So when you've got what look like little pine needles, you can go in, you can just do sort of a wide berth around those or sort of a bubble cut, or you can actually give it a little bit more detail and cut in ever so slightly. I think a lot of this depends on how much you enjoy fussy cutting. Before we got our die cutting machines, I used to do a lot of fussy cutting sitting in front of the TV at night, and it's actually something that I don't hate doing. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think there's always something when you're crafting that you don't particularly enjoy, but I actually really enjoy fussy cutting. And I don't think I'm the only one. Well, I hope I'm not the only one who enjoys it. Having said that, it is so much quicker to use a die. Okay, let's see. I think I might get in there a little bit too. So how much you cut into your piece will obviously depend on how your bird looks. Okay, so my tip when you are fussy cutting is I'm right-handed, so of course I'm using the scissors right-handed. My right hand doesn't move a great deal. I'm using all the movement, or all the movement is the cardstock or the paper being moved is the easiest way of cutting out. So rather than moving your scissors around, just move your cardstock or your piece of paper. You will have a whole lot more control over what you're cutting out if you do it that way. Okay, and it's also much quicker. So there is the cute little bird cut out. Now I need to do my sentiment. I have just done mine on the original card in the black, so I think I'm going to stick with that. And I am going to do this one, I think I'm going to do it a birthday as well. So it is, there it is. So the die cut rectangle that comes from the rectangle, the deckled rectangle set of dies is really versatile, and they get quite large as well. Oh, scalpel, yes. I think anything that was very intricate, I think we did get scalpels and things out. Have to admit though, I'm quite happy that we don't necessarily do that too much anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of lining up. I have got my frame there. And my bird, I think I'm going to sit off to the other side. So I'm going to put my sentiment, I think, down there on the opposite side. So this is using black ink. So you can use that, or if you want, even if you go with early espresso or something like that, is going to work really quite nicely. Sharon, I think fussy cutting should be easy, but it is just, yeah, as mentioned, moving the paper rather than the scissors. I think that's going to work. That's going to be kind of cute. Before I stick my bird down, I am going to be tying a bow with my linen thread. If your linen thread or your baker's twine is a little bit curled up, just between your thumb fingernail and your index finger, a little bit of pressure, and just pull that through, and that straightens out your piece of linen thread or baker's twine. So I am going to tie a fairly big bow. It's a little bit skew with, but that'll be all right. The reason I'm tying a bow is then the bow is going to sit behind the bird. You've probably seen videos where people have their linen thread and stuff like that, or their baker's twine, and they make it look a little bit loopy, and give it a little bit of extra sort of layers and things to look at. I really struggle to make that look good. And so I have found that if I just tie a nice big bow, then I can stick that behind my frame, or in this case behind the bird, and I'm going to use just a small piece of sticky tape, so it's going to be just stuck on in the middle there, and it still gives you the same sort of look without that that difficulty of trying to get the loops to all look really good. The other thing I need to do is just figure out where I'm going to put my little sprigs. So you might need to just take a couple of minutes just to figure out where they are going to go. Okay, I'm going to stick these other pieces down first, and the last thing I'll do is put the little sprig thingies. Okay, so some dimensionals behind the frame, or the rectangle. I have to admit, it feels really weird being here on a Friday night. So it actually feels like Thursday again. And my apologies for not being on last night. So by the time I had a dental appointment yesterday afternoon, and there's just that soreness that you get, I think, after you've been to the dentist. Okay, so my bird is going to go on there, and I'm going to use, I think, some glue dots to stick it down. I don't really need the dimensionals because I'm happy with the wings to be sitting up just a little bit, and then the little leafy things will just be, I'll just slide those underneath. Okay, so let's go with some glue dots here. Just because glue dots will stick pretty much straight away, and I won't get any sticky bits from Tombow. So I am using the Take Your Pick tool, and I'll probably put maybe 3 or 4 glue dots just in a couple of different spots. Where else do I need one? And maybe one around about there. I think that'll work for now. Okay, finally, I've just got these little sprigs to put in. And with the dimensionals underneath, if the dimensionals are in the way a little bit, just trim off the bottom of your die cut. I might just trim off just a little bit. There may be one about there, and the other one, let's stick this one down. Again, I'm going to use a glue dot. And of course you can use Tombow, but I'm all about not making too much mess at the moment. If I can just get that underneath there without it sticking. I'll do one there. And I might do, oops, just thinking out loud. And I might do one there as well. So depending on the bird you have in your kit, you'll just have to think about where you're going to put these little sprig thingies. Okay, so I'm just going to be holding the piece of linen thread out the way, and that goes under there. So that is the card front finished. So as I mentioned, this one here probably looks a little bit more Christmassy just with the bird, but this one maybe not so much. Okay, we just need to finish the inside, which my normal sizes. So it's just using some of the Stampin' Seal. Just stick both of these together and then into the card front. Okay, and again, with your Stampin' Seal, a really light hand is all you need. Because if you use a little bit too much pressure, you'll find that the little plastic strip that the adhesive comes off, it kind of ends up wrapping on itself, and then you kind of, fighting a losing battle trying to get it to work properly again. So there is card number 2. So they are really lovely cards, and you've got options of a lot of different birds. You could make a whole bunch of cards ready to go. You could even do, 6-10 cards and put them in a nice little box or something and give it as a gift to somebody, because we all know those people who are really, really hard to buy for. Okay, so those are the 2 cards for the free class for this month. So a couple of reminders very quickly. I promise it won't take too long at all. Last month we had bonus days, and if you placed an order of $90 or more, you will have received via email from Stampin' Up! A coupon code to the value of $9. You do have until the end of August, so you've still got a couple more weeks to redeem these. Once the 1st of September ticks over, you will lose your vouchers. Okay, so please, if you've got vouchers, please, please, please don't forget to use those. So thank you, Gay. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Sharon. So next we've also got the Designer Series paper sale. The paper I used tonight, unfortunately, is not included in the sale, but there are multiples here to choose from. We've got 8, 10, 12, 14. So there's 14 different papers from the annual catalogue to choose from. Most of them are 12 by 12s, but there are a couple of 6 by 6 packets thrown in there. So it is 15% off until the end of August. So it's a really nice little saving. Normally the standard papers or standard Designer Series papers, you're looking at $21.75. You can get them for $18.48 each. Okay, Designer Series paper sale. Finally, a few classes. I will be back next week, of course, for Facebook Live. I have decided to cancel next week's scrapbook class. I do have retreat the following weekend, and I just need that little bit of extra time to get everything sorted, so I've decided to cancel next week's scrapbook class. Then we've got retreat, and then I'm back for Facebook Live the following week. So that's what's happening here in my world at the moment. So yes, very important. Designer Series paper sale, probably a little bit more important at the moment if you've got vouchers that you need to redeem. That's it. That's what I got for you for tonight. So for those who may have joined a little bit late, if you've got the kits there, please don't worry. I'll be sharing this video straight away so you can re-watch it. Or if you're not watching, haven't been able to make it on tonight, you'll be able to watch this video over the next few days. And I will also share photos as well of these finished cards with you as well. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you'll have a really great weekend, and I'll be back next Tuesday. I think I'm going to share some more cards with Designer Series paper. I think I might do maybe 2 cards again next week. So until then, take care, everyone, and I'll see you all soon.